Hello everyone, and welcome to Symphony Preview on Helena Civic Television. My name is Cameron, the Helena Symphony's Director of Development, and I am joined today by Maestro Alan R. Scott. We're so excited to be discussing the finale of season 66, so let's jump right in. It's been an incredibly unique season. Can you tell us a little bit about what we have to look forward to still, and what we have in store for everyone?
Yeah, I think in many ways you have to find a silver lining to everything. Challenges, problems, and for us, we decided a year and a half ago that this pandemic, while it presents enormous problems, does not change who we are, doesn't change our mission. It just changed how we executed it. In fact, we changed our mission statement because it's not that we're just here to bring music to the concert hall. We're here to bring music outside of the concert hall, which we always have done. But this really hit home for so many people, and we felt why so many arts organizations were forced to or chose to close up. We decided that what we do is needed, not just wanted, more now than ever. So we decided to bring it to a streaming platform, and we've seen thousands of people from all over the world watch. While as of now, it looks like we will be back in public with live audiences in the fall. People, depending on when they're watching this, we should be announcing our season as it gets close to this May 1st performance. And it looks as though, why we haven't formally announced, that Symphony Under the Stars on July 17th and the benefit concert at Montana Ting, which is a night in Hollywood, on June 26th, should both happen. But again, things have been crazier this year, so we never know. So. This past month, we've been thrilled not only to have all of our Masterworks concert over the past season, I should say, and all of our education concerts. In this entire season, we only had to pull one concert, our Christmas in the Cathedral. Most recently, we've had a concert for 4th and 5th graders that we chose to just stream into all the schools, not just Helena-wide, but statewide. And so Peter versus the Wolf, and then most recently, one of our Symphony Kids concerts. We've had several of those. So we're reaching families, all different ages, students, and then people watching from their home. On the home stream, Your Helena Symphony, which is so generously supported by AARP Montana. On May 1st, it was not the concert we intended. It was supposed to be a semi-stage version of Sondheim Sweeney Todd, which will be eventually rescheduled. But instead we chose to perform a violin concerto by the violin concerto by Mendelssohn. He actually wrote two, one that was posthumously discovered, but the one that everyone knows, known as the E minor, with the world-renowned Tim Fain, who happened to just move to Montana recently, a few years ago, California native. Tim has performed this several times before. He opened up 2 seasons ago doing Philip Glass's American Violin Concerto. Tim is Philip Glass's, the great American composer, personal violinist. He premieres nearly everything Philip Glass composes. Tim performs for the Dalai Lama regularly. Tim is a very spiritual performer. He's very connected to his music in a very unique way that just draws us all in. You feel like he's performing for you and you only. And when he and I have talked about doing something, I said, well, do you want to come up and do something? And we've done, the Helena Symphony's done nearly every major violin concerto, but we did the Mendelssohn. It's been about 12 or 14 years. And we do it a lot for youth concerts, and you play it a lot in your career. But it's considered the quintessential violin. It's the standard bearer of all violin concerto. I mean, Beethoven being the most epic, but Mendelssohn's is the standard bearer. We measure all violin concertos to Mendelssohn's. And maybe Sibelius, but I mean, it's certainly Mendelssohn's is the one that we say, how does this compare to Mendelssohn? So Tim is the violin soloist for that. And then we'll be performing Georges Bizet's Symphony No. 1. He only wrote one symphony, C major. He wrote this when he was 16, 17 years old. And it's about 10 years apart. The Mendelssohn is 1845 and the Bizet is 1855. So Bizet was a student at the time, the Paris Conservatory, studying with the famous composer Charles Gounod, and emulated Gounod. He often would say that my career began because of my artistic life began because of Gounod. Right. And he modeled this symphony after Gounod's symphony. It's not done tons, but it's playful. It has some of the playfulness of his operas. Bizet is a tragic figure that we don't often think of as he was a child prodigy. He died same age as Mendelssohn, basically. He died at 36, Mendelssohn died at 35, or excuse me, Mozart. Mozart died at 35, and Mendelssohn also died in his late 30s, but Bizet died at 36. So all three of it, Mozart, Mendelssohn, Bizet, they're all sort of these child prodigies, and Bizet, like Mozart, didn't live to see his works so celebrated.
Right.
Carmen, he died right after it was composed. He never saw the success of Carmen. And so we're going to do this first symphony that he wrote when he was 17, and it's wonderfully fun, has a sense of humor to it. It has some of the exoticness that he likes to tap into when he composed Carmen, but it's definitely a work of a 17-year-old prodigy looking with fresh eyes into the music world. So these two works, I think, are going to really be, you have this the last major orchestral work of Mendelssohn and one of the first major works of Bizet.
Definitely, and I think it's such a fitting way to end this season, especially as you touched on earlier. We have developed a new mission statement and core values that we believe represent our organization, one of which is community engagement. We have artistic excellence, and it really seems as though these are all kind of wrapped up into one final performance, and we're hoping that our mission to enrich, inspire, transform our community through music, we can carry that into future seasons, even after all of this with the pandemic is over.
Yeah, I think we will, and I think people are going to, well, one, none of us are going to ever take for granted just to go out and about anymore, right? So, but I think to come back to a concert hall, assuming that Symphony Under the Stars happens in July, that's going to be such an incredible opening for this community with 18,000 people present if that's what happens. But certainly when we get back to the September and opening with some of the concerts repertoire that we've had to reschedule and new repertoire, we're gonna come back in a way that is not only with a bang, but in a way that really brings people together musically. And I think this concert will. There's been some talk, why don't you bring some audience, to May 1st. We really want to wait until we have the entire orchestra vaccinated, where we don't have to socially distant. And we want to bring back, I think it's not a secret that a year ago in May, we should have been doing Bizet's Carmen. We will bring that back next season. We did say that even last year. So we're ending in a way where we left off from last year, where we should have been ending with Carmen, and we're doing Bizet's Symphony No. 1. I think we've been so lucky and so fortunate that our audience has just quadrupled in size, and we believe that many people are going to want to come back to the concert hall when it's safe to do so, and we think the best way to do that is in a few months. When we can assure more vaccinations and so forth. But right now, we're so grateful to the people like AARP Montana, Treasure State Internet, the sponsors for this upcoming concert that you can mention and talk about. People have really showed us what is important to them. Certainly things like food share and things like this, but also they showed when the pandemic hit that music is essential. It's going to what heals our community psychologically and emotionally and spiritually and physically. And I think we've been a part of that.
Definitely. And I'd love to take a moment to just recognize Helena Home Team for sponsoring Masterworks 6 and really helping us get through the end of this season. And for all of our sponsors and everybody who has tuned in and donated from home, you're the reason why we are able to continue these concerts and why we are looking forward to future seasons. It's been such a challenging year, and I think our organization has grown in fortitude and in terms of how we think about the work that we put into the world. And so I personally think it's a net positive, everything that's happened. And I just hope that you could speak a little bit about you as an artist and as kind of the fearless leader of this organization, what you have learned and what you hope to take away from this.
Well, a conductor is we use it as an example of leadership because the conductor doesn't make a sound. If a conductor makes a mistake, is it heard? Maybe, depending on what the piece is. But generally, the conductor is only as influential or as impactful as the orchestra or chorale or whoever's in front of them allows him or her to be. They can easily choose to ignore. It's the same goes, I think, in any leadership scenario, that a leader it's not about power. It's about trying to create a vision of the world that doesn't exist and trying to get people to act on that vision. And that vision is not just come up with in the secrecy of one's home. It's you deal with a team and a board. And this is a very large organization. And in our case, 78 players, 110 singers, a board of a little under 20, a staff of 15 or 16. This is a 200 plus person organization. So I am only as influential as they allow me to be. And when COVID hit, senior staff and the entire staff came together along with the orchestra and chorale, and we said we have to start making a difference immediately, starting with Facebook Live, mini concerts, to deciding out. We probably went through plan A through Z until we stopped saying there is no more plan B. Right. We only have plan A's. In other words, that our next plan is not any less good than our first plan. We're going to constantly figure out how to adapt. And so to me, what it taught me was that our music is just as important with or without an audience. Our music is reaching out, and we don't know the impact that we're making on them at that moment. And also that how important flexibility is to still be able to do the work, and how important trust is with a staff. Mm-hmm. We were probably working twice as long hours at this time last year. We needed a few days to get our heads around it, but everything was changing so fast, so we didn't know what was going to happen. We had some naivete that by July or August we'll be back. Certainly by September, we thought. Our next plan was, then by January. And then we thought, there's never, and then all of a sudden there's going to be a vaccine within a year. I mean, there's so many sort of things that have changed disappointingly and amazingly at the same time, that we feel like that this is what I think art in general is. It's there to reflect and capture the disappointments, the rage, the heartbreak, and the joyous moments in our life. And we can't predict any of this, and how we have so much in our lives that we cannot control. I would say the majority of life we can't control. So if we can make an impact either by reacting or anticipating musically in a way that allows us to cope, deal, heal, then I think that's our role. I look at our role as the same as a hospital. I look at our role as the same as a church or a psychologist or a medical doctor. We're here to save their lives in one way or another. And by doing that, we save ourselves. As artists, we save ourselves by saving others. And sometimes we're just here to make that moment, that hour, an escape. Mm-hmm. It can be just entertainment. I think, though, we're far more than that. And I think we showed what our community at least values. They valued the Helena Symphony. And so the music making of what we do, as well as other organizations like Grand Street Theater, the community showed that they need us in ways to help us deal and cope and get to and to survive. And that's what makes us different than any other species, is that we have the ability to deliberately create and reflect. Yeah. And when we go back and look at this pandemic, decades from now, because it will be up there with the World War II and the 9/11 moments, that this year of pandemic will be remembered for centuries. They will remember of the art that was created. They'll remember of how scientists react. They'll remember how our leaders react or didn't react. They will remember this, just like we remember how the American Musical Theater was born, because, as we know it today, it was born out of World War II. And so I think what we're doing is relevant, and it's needed, and it's going to be the thing that continues to unite us and bring us back together. Definitely.
And I think that I reflect on one statement that you make all the time, which is, Helena, we exist for and because of you. I think that when we think of ourselves as an organization, it does include our audience, it includes our donors, it includes our patrons, it includes everybody that has contributed to making this season possible. And we're happy to say that Helena Symphony will be participating in Greater Helena Gives this year. And I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much to everybody that has made this season possible. Thank you, Maestro. This has been a wonderful chat, and we are so excited for our upcoming performance. Do you want to just say one quick thing about when it is, how people can tune in?
Yeah, good point. May 1st, 7:30, Montana time, or anywhere streaming. You can share it. It's free on youtube.com/Helena Symphony. Just go to YouTube, type in Helena Symphony, you'll find it. Go to our website, go to our Facebook page, you'll find it there too. And 7:30, the pregame show. You get backstage interviews with Tim Fain and me, and the musicians of the Helena Symphony Orchestra love having you there because we want you there in person, not for the applause, but that's always nice. But to receive what we're putting out there, but you can receive it in the comforts of your living room with a glass of wine or a drink or dinner or popcorn or snacks or whatever, and just sit down on the couch and really experience our music making in a way that you don't normally get to, because you're as if you're sitting in the orchestra. The cameras are in the orchestra. It's not just from the back of the hall. Seeing someone like Tim Fain as if you're sitting inches from him. Definitely. So it's one of the last Masterworks of the season, and we'll have more in the forthcoming weeks and days to announce about more.
Wonderful. Well, we're so excited to see you all there, and thank you for tuning into Symphony Preview on Helena Civic Television.